that later, but we'll see. All right, so this is pre-algebra, set one, numbers. Now, like I said, normally I would be grading homework right now, so you'd be getting out your homework on the first day, and then I'd teach the lesson. But because there's no homework today, it's going to be just two of the three pieces. We'll go over the lesson, take notes, and then you'll have time to do your homework. You'll probably get all the homework done in class, quite frankly, based on past experience. Depends on you, but most people will. Okay? This, therefore, is the first day of taking notes, so I need to be clear about how to take notes in my class. Would you get out whatever paper you're going to take notes on? Hopefully it'll be notes that you keep organized in an organized way, whether it be spiral or loose leaf paper going into a three-ring binder. If you do lose paper, it must then be put into preferably a notebook that keeps it organized like a three-ring binder. Folders tend to cause problems because people get their notes out of order, and you want them to be in order. So, I feel like spiral is usually the most successful, but loose leaf paper for people that are organized, that works great too. Here we go. So let me explain. First thing you're going to do is unfreeze the projector. I'm going to do that. Okay. Oh, we talked about the syllabus and completion yesterday, so no sweat there. All right. So I need to explain how I want notes done. So the first thing you're going to do in a second, you don't need to write this down, I'll explain. You're going to write the lesson number down first and foremost. It's like the title for that day. Also give it the topic that I call it. You just have to copy the name of that lesson. And give it the date also. Sometimes in a note quiz I might say, give me the notes from 8/15. Or whatever, so you'll want a date down too, okay? When you go to take notes, you'll usually be taking definitions and formulas down, but mostly it's examples. How do you do this type of problem? I will highlight, usually I will highlight what needs to be copied down. Now, if in the case of I'm getting all wrapped up in what I'm teaching and I forget to highlight, then please do ask me. Should I get this down? Do you want me to write that down? That's fine, okay? And maybe I don't want you to write it down, but maybe I just forgot. So please do ask questions. If you're not sure what you should get down, ask. I am not a bite your head off kind of teacher, you'll find. All right? So with that in mind, let's take some notes and let's practice. You'll find that the lesson might be really easy for some of you. For some, it needs a review. I need to make sure nobody gets left behind, okay? So if there's one person in here that can't do this, I need to make sure I get that fixed. So today might be easy for you, but you might have some holes. This is what I like you to do. First of all, copy down. Oops. Boom. This, the title of the lesson, is Lesson 1. It's actually a whole bunch of little things. So, sorry, it's all of that. Lesson 1 is place value, expanded notation, reading and writing, whole numbers, and addition. Also, as I go, if I go too fast, then it's on you to say, hey there, slow down there, buddy boy. What did you do? You don't have a what? Oh, I'll give you a paper then, in which you can, actually, this is a good, I'll give you paper, but you will find that if you're absent, you will find my notes online, which we'll go over later once I have some time, but you will be able to get the notes from my website and fill in your notes. Being absent for a lesson does not excuse you from taking notes. I'll say it again. Being absent for a lesson does not excuse you from taking notes. You must go to my website and get the notes from my website. I'll show you how to do that soon. All right, do you have that highlighted part down? Okay, for this part, let's just talk place value. Don't worry about the objective. For the most part, it's just teacher speak telling you what my goal is for this part, all right? My goal is that you can write and read math into verbal. Get the first example down. EX1 stands for example 1. I do that all year long. I abbreviate example EX. All right. Now, you're given the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 0. Given the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 0, we're going to identify the place values of 2 of the digits. In our system, the Hindu-Arabic number system, we have 10 different types of numbers, symbols. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And every other number is just a combination of those symbols. We wait, put in the appropriate place. I'm a little worried about recording my lesson. I never recorded my lessons before this year, so I'm worried that your parents are going to listen to this if that's the case. But anyway, if they listen to my notes and I say something goofy or wrong or I'm weird, I'll get a lot of parents saying, you're weird. But whatever. Do you have down then, let's talk about the 2 examples. It's actually 2 questions. Example 1A and example 1B. Now, ooh, sorry, that's embarrassing. Teacher's not supposed to have a phone at these points. I guess I need to bring you donuts. All right. Now, the way that number's written, kind of late. Why? Kind of hard to tell what stuff is. Yeah. Commas. Yeah, commas are what separate groupings. Really, do you agree that you do commas starting from the right side every 3 digits? Yeah. All right. Now, commas are really what separate orders. Every combination of 3 is either just 1s, 10s, or 100s. Yeah. And then the question is, what kind of 110s and 100s? Is it just normal 110 and 100? Or is it 110 and 100,000? Or 110 and 100 million? And so on. But every case, the rightmost is 1s, the second is 10s, and the third is 100s, yeah? And then after that, you attach the appropriate grouping. So in the next, those are 1s, 10s, and 100,000s. So for example, this one is 1 in the thousands grouping. 9 is the 10,000s grouping. And so on, 100,000s grouping. Let's get enough to make these notes useful. So the next group is also 1, 10, and 100. But now, instead of thousands, that's what's the next grouping of 3? The millions, okay? And after the millions is the billions. And then after that is the trillions. All right. So with that said, answering the question, the 7. Here's the 7. What place value does that 7 occupy? Yes, sir. The 1 million's place. Okay. The place value, it doesn't say what's the value of the 7, it's what's the place value. The place value is the 1 million's place. So, like, Ricky? Yay! Answered it was. Okay. All right. The 0. The 0 is a key. The 0 is in the 1's place. Yep. All right. Easy enough? Any questions here before we move on? Perfecto. Okay. This lesson's a lot of writing. I'm kind of lazy, you're going to see. So this one's kind of a stinker because it's going to require some writing. Wait till the ones we get to. On this slide, would you first of all get down expanded notation? That's the next idea. I suppose it's topic 2. I'm not super great with structuring my notes. I apologize for that. I'm trying to do better. I think I had the first place value as topic 1, so this I suppose would be topic 2, yeah? Some of your teachers were probably awesome at organizing their notes from 6th grade or 7th grade. Some like me, not so much. I apologize. But the example is what I'd like you to get down. You do not need to write the objective. Just write that down in your notes. Example 2 is to write that number in expanded notation. Now, expanded notation is a bit of a mess of parentheses and adding up all the place values. In each case, it's going to be, what you're going to do is write this as the sum of many parentheses with the first thing being the digit times whatever the place value is. So for example, we go left to right. although I suppose addition is commutative, we could rearrange the order, but that would make it unnecessarily complicated. So that 5, what place value is it? 10 thousandths, okay? So isn't the value of that 10,000, 5 of them? So you could say that the value of that is 5 10 thousandths, or 10,000 5 times. Now I'm going to take that value and add to it all the other stuff. So close that parentheses and add in the new place value. The next thing I come to is the 2. That 2, what's the value of that? Thousandths. I have 2 thousandths. Close the parentheses. You may leave zeros out. You can leave any 0 out. Here. So we're going to jump the 0 and go to the 4. What's the next? 4 times tens. Close the parentheses. And the last is, it's tempting, this is actually where people start to lose points. 1. Is that good enough? Just 1? No, if I'm going to do the format correctly, it's the digit times the place value. So it's the digit 1 times the place value, 1. And that would actually be a shame to lose a point for that, but I would take off because you're not following the formula. That's expanded notation. That's useful because once you get to algebra, you start having x's in there and stuff, and it starts to be a little more complicated. So it's good to get a little practice on that. Even if you find it easy, it'll get harder when you get to algebra. Cool so far? Okay. Boom, moving on. What is that for? All right. Here, the next topic, I suppose you could call it topic 3. Topic 3. Okay, writing numbers in words. This is the one that takes all the work. Okay. As far as what I want you to get down here, why do you even write numbers in words? Who cares, right? If you got these digits that make it so much shorter, why write it in words? What's the time you need to write words? Yes? Yeah, it's the most common is to write a check. When I write a check, you have to use words. Now, why is that? Because they want people to be to make it more complicated for your parents? Why do you think they do that for a reason? Why do you think they do it? You actually write it in digits and words, yeah. Yeah, it's a check against what the person wanted to say. If I just said it was paid to the order of, in other words, I'm paying Cameron, and here's where the number usually comes. And if I just had digits here, like 3, I give him the check. What could he do? If he's a real jerk, dishonest weasel, he could add. He's saying paid to the order of Cameron for the amount of $3 million. Okay. Unfortunately, then he just bounced my check because there's no way I have that money in my bank. That's why here you explain it would be $3 and no hundreds, which is to say no cents. And you don't even just write $3. You write $3, no G. All right? So that's then going to say, hey, wait a second, you cheater. It's 3. And here's where I sign it. And don't copy my signature. All right. So that's what you write. You have to be able to write words. Got it? Make sure that when you punctuate, this I do want you to write down. When you do punctuation, commas go in the same place as the digit form. Where you put commas in the digits, the actual numerical symbols, you're going to put commas in the same place when you expand it into words. You won't have commas there. You need to break the words up. Also, to create a positive. Also, there's always these spelling. Oh, no, sorry. This is another issue. Numbers between 20 and 100 that don't end in 0, I'll give you a second to write that down, require a hyphen. I'm not sure the difference between a hyphen and a dash. I think a hyphen is short and a dash is long. Okay, now when I say hyphen, I mean you need to join them together with that unifier. So for example, give me a number between 20 and 100 that doesn't end in 0. 49. Okay, 49. You agree that 49 is between 20 and 100, and that it doesn't end in 0. Yeah? When you go to write 49, it'll be 40. I'm glad you asked this, because 40 is a commonly misspelled word. 40, F-O-U-R or F-O-R? It's F-O-R. It's tempting to say F-O-U-R because that's how 4 is spelled, but 40 is F-O-R. T-Y. Now, I'm joining 40 and 9 with a hyphen. That's where the hyphen comes in. 40 and then 9. All right? Why? It'll be more clear when we get to decimals, but for now, just take my word for it. It helps unify that quantity, 49. All right, commonly misspelled words. If you just write down that, actually, we got down that 40, we already have in your notes that 40 is F-O-R-T-Y. 80, oops, 80, how is that spelled, please? Yes. Right. Okay. And then the one that makes me most bonkers, I don't know why, but it does. 90. Yes. Yeah. That's okay. And that's the you know the difference. It's 90. It feels like 40, you know, it doesn't have, it's not spelled the same, it should be different. So 90 should be different. It's actually the same as 9. It's 9T. It's got an E. It's not mid-T, it's 90. Okay? So with that in mind, would you get this example down? Example 3. Write that number in words. Now I'm not saying what that number is because that would kind of be doing your job for you. Yeah? So write 23,089. What that means in words with place value. I definitely don't want you to write it as 23,089 like that. In terms of seating chart, by the way, we keep working, sorry. While I'm thinking about it, I'll do a seating chart later. For now, first 6 weeks, you'll probably get to choose where you sit. But do settle on a final seat soon so I can make a seating chart, okay? All right, I'm going to let you try this on your own, and then we'll, if you're not already doing so, and then we'll go over it. This is the one that my little brother has trouble with. He's a terrible speller. I'm a great speller. I want spelling control. Not to brag and stuff. What kind of spelling chicken? Bear Creek Elementary. I got smoked at the district level. Okay, are you ready? Do we give it a, are you done, or no, this takes a long time? Takes a long time, okay? And some people are done. It's a little of both. Where are we? All right, so you will say it to me, and I'll write it up there, but you'll check my spelling. All right. So what did you start with? Yes.
23,000.
Okay. Let me start. Give me a second. 23,000 is what I have there. Okay. Yes. Yeah. 20 and 3, even in the thousands case, is a joining of tens and ones. It doesn't end in zeros, so it needs a hyphen. Okay. Need that. All right. Good deal. Okay, then what? Go ahead. 80 hyphen 9. All right, so 80, which we already covered, hyphen 9. I like it. Anything else I'm missing? Yep. Yeah. Like we said earlier, the commas go in the same places as the words. So because there's a comma after the 23,000, you should have a comma in your 20. Yes.
What if instead of putting a comma, we said the word and?
That's a great question. It kind of depends on book to book, but in terms of our book and the way I'm going to teach, and is a word strictly to be used for a decimal. Okay, so I will say no. I gotta say on your side, I can totally understand where you're coming from because in expanded notation, don't we put a plus? And isn't plus and? But in this type of problem, we're going to save and for decimal. So good question. I'm so glad you asked that. And save it for a decimal and only use it for decimal. I'm going to write that down. Only use and for a decimal point. Now that, so just pause to set up the class, okay? By asking that question, not only did he save himself lost points on that test, but probably 4 or 5 other people in the class. I mean, good questions. We all get ahead. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you asked that. All right. Okay. Moving along. Oh, my word is so long and wordy. Addition. Now, I want to give you back your quiz, pre-quiz kind of thing from yesterday, so you know how you did. But would you do me a favor? Assume you missed this, okay? So you're not looking at this as, oh, I know this, I could do it in my, because yesterday was pretty easy, but you're also pretty rusty. So I had 8s, 5.5 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 10, 8.5, 8, 7, 9, 10, 7.5, 7. My point is, you missed a few, okay, and that's fine, it's rusty, but don't assume, oh, I could do this in my sleep, we're a little rusty, so that's why it's worth going over this one, okay? So, would you please write down at least, what do I expect? Any good problem solver, this is a skill that catches errors. We all make mistakes, but if you have this skill in your math toolkit, you will catch so many mistakes. What's a reasonable answer? And at the end, is that answer matching what I expected? I'm not asking you to write this down yet. We will do estimates later. But right now, what would you expect as an answer? Just ballpark. Yes? 24,000. 24,000. A little more. Do you agree that 23,000 is huge and 73 is not going to add? So I would expect it to be 23,000 and a little more. Yeah? That's all I'm asking. So that if somebody forgets and lines it up wrong, oops. If somebody forgets and lines it up wrong, like this, aren't they going to get something like 96,000? And does that even make sense, catch that error? It doesn't make sense. Do you agree? So if you start every problem with, what do I expect, and end every problem with, does that make sense, you will be a really excellent math problem solver. All right. So would you please write that down, problem down, and then do the problem, and we will check and confer in a minute. You might be rusty. I know I'm rusty. But definitely understand that you want to add apples to apples. In other words, you want to add safe place values. You want to add 1s to 1s, 10s to 10s, and so on. So make sure you line up the place values when you multiply, add, and when you multiply, actually. Did you get 23,162? Does that answer make sense? It does. Just a little more than 23, just like we thought. Okay, would you then do one example of money? Get that down first the way it is. Let me actually say this real quick. Go ahead and write this down. There's a difference between notes and problem set, okay? When you do these problems in the notes, actually, do me a favor. After you get that down, would you write this down just because it's worth writing down? In your notes, you write the original problem. Okay, you want what the original problem reflects because that's what's going to come like in the book. And so if you want to have these as a reference, they need to look like the problems in the book, not the first step of the work. Now, in the homework, you could start here. Depending on your original teacher, your previous teacher might have said, you've got to write the original problem just like the way it is in the homework. I don't do that. I think that's a waste of your time. In the homework, I would say go straight to your setting it up to do the problem. In which case, we're going to organize by place value, right? Vertically. $32.58. How do I orient the 9? Where do I put the 9 under, please?
Where the 2 is.
Yep, under the 2 because those are whole dollar numbers. If I wanted to put something over here, you could or don't have to. What would you put over here? And how many cents are there?
2 zeros.
Yeah, you could hold placeholder zeros there. You wouldn't necessarily have to, but you could. I was taught to do that. What about the 25 cents? Yeah. Yep. Because it's cents. You're really saying that's 0.25 of a dollar. So you need to line that up. Line up the decimal. Okay, and remember 25 cents is the same as 0.25 dollars, right? All right, after that we add straight down. 8 plus 5 is 13. 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 2 plus 9 is and 1 and 3 is. Okay, done? No. Yeah. We are very picky at the school about units. We take off. You'll see that many of you missed units points here. Generally, it's not a full deduction. I wouldn't take 5 out of 5, but I would take a point out of 5 on a test for that, no units. There's a big difference between $41 and 41 lire or euros or whatever kind of money. You want to communicate what kind of units if they're there. Okay? Questions there? Cool. All right. Now, here's the deal. This is an issue with junior high students more than high school students. When I finish the notes in junior high, what do you reckon people do? They put them away, put them in their bag, and never look at them again. Okay, I did what you told me to do. Now why do you take notes? So you can use them in the future as a reference, okay? It makes me bonkers when somebody comes up to me and says, "Why did you do number 5?" When the problem, just like it, is in your notes. Use your notes for, I'm happy to answer questions, but that's why I give you notes. Use your notes as a reference. The minute you come to a question, in fact, I think notes are a better reference than the book, though maybe notes, then people around you, and then the book and me. I'm happy to help you, but your notes are your first, okay? All right, now then, keep your notes out because you might need them in a reference, but now's the problem set. You will need your book out and turn to page 5. Turn your book to page 5. You're welcome. Oh, you're a volleyball player. Any good? Really? What's wrong? Hey, Marcos, do you have reports? Baseball? Not soccer. Are you play ball? Good for you. Good. I like it. All right. So here's a problem set sheet. Just a few directions on it. First of all, it's nice to have a namespace on there, but we intentionally leave the name off because we want to break you of the habit of not putting your name on the paper. So in the top left corner above period, put your name on it. When I say name, I want first and last. It's always a bit of an adjustment coming from 6th grade, where you have, that teacher has 25 students and you're the only Grace. Well, I don't have 25 students. I have 125 students, and I have several Graces. Okay, so Grace doesn't cut it. You must give your first and your last name, especially if your name's not Grace, don't give me Grace. All right, so make sure that you give me your full name. If the problem number is circled, when you look at that problem set, you can see that some of them are circled. In fact, most of them are circled. Yeah?
Yeah.
What does that mean, 8th graders? Yes.
You don't show
do not have to show work. You might write this at the top of the page, at least seventh graders, especially if you're not, eventually you don't need to write this down, you'll remember, but if it's circled, if the problem number is circled, that means no work required, just answer is okay. Okay, if it's not circled, therefore it must have more than one step, so show me some work. I remind you that the back of the, okay, actually, got a little cut off. So look, so first off, would you fold it hamburger style? If you know what I mean by that. I always tell teacher call it hamburger style and hot dogs. Fatter style versus really thinner style. All right, when you fold it down the middle, look at how the numbers work. You can see that the front side is going across and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah? Flip it over. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Flip it over. Refold it. Okay, now unfortunately the back got cut off a little. But what do you reckon is the top left two boxes?
16, 7. No, yes.
15, we left off at 14.
15, 16.
Okay, so 15, 16, would you please write 15, 16, they got cut off, and then going down at 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Hear that? Then go over to the last fourth. Flip it over to the last fourth. What do you reckon those numbers off? We left off with 22, so now it's 23, next to it is 24, then 25, 26, and so on. Sorry about the cutoff, but that's going to happen. You need to know how the system works. Do you understand? Yes?
Are any of those circles?
Beg your pardon?
Are any of those circles?
Oh, that's a great question. Wonderful question. Let me look at the nature of the problems and I will tell you. That's a really great question. They are circles? Is everybody's cut off or is some people's not cut off? Are you just hoping it's that or are you saying? I think they are they're 25 and 26 are not, but I think 23 and 24, all the ones on the top of the back were circled. Okay? Good question.
What about 17?
17 is circled, sure. Okay? Good question. Now, you can see, before you get rolling and I be quiet for the day, next to your name box there's an empty box there, you see that? Okay, sometimes I'll use that box for a warm-up. Sometimes I won't use that box. If you can use that box for scratch work, if you have a problem that's getting especially long, you can just say C name box and I'll find your scratch right there. So that's in general, use that only if you're running on a roof, not, it shouldn't be box in. All right? I think that's it. Would you please circle your answer when you're done? So your answer can be found easily both by you and by me. All right, so circle your answer with that. Cool. All right, this should be done in pencil. You have odds in the back of the book, so you will know if you're doing the odds correctly. If you're not getting an odd answer, please listen very carefully to this. This is an issue. If you do not get their answer, do not just change your answer to their answer. That's plagiarism. That's copying their work. It's passing it off as your own. Instead, what should you do?
Go back and see what you did wrong.
Yeah, figure out what you did wrong. Now, the evens, you'll just mark it wrong, period. But the odds, you should go back and say, wait a second, I'm not getting that. What did I do wrong? Not just change your answer. Figure out what you did wrong. Okay, that's called learning. All righty. I will be quiet. Please feel free to get to work. And if you have any questions, I'll be walking around and be happy to help you. I'm also going to hand back your quizzes from yesterday, and I'll talk about how those were graded in a little bit.